Hi, I'm Doug Shipman, City Council President for our Atlanta. And I just want to say how excited I am to be in this new role. And I want to take this opportunity to wish you and your family a very happy new year.
Hi, I'm Jason Winston, Atlanta City Council member for District 1. I want to wish you and your family a happy new year.
Hello, Atlanta. This is Byron Amos, City Council District 3 member, and I would just like to wish you and your family a happy new year.
Hello, this is Councilmember Jason Dozier representing Atlanta City Council District 4. I just want to wish you and your families a happy new year.
Hi, I'm Liliana Bakhtiari, the representative for City Council District 5, and I want to wish you and your family a happy new year.
Hi, I'm Alex Wan, Atlanta City Council member for District 6, and I'd like to wish you, your family, and your loved ones a very happy new year.
Hello, my name is Antonio Lewis, Atlanta City Council member representing District 12, the south side of the city. I just want to wish you and your family a happy new year. Let's go!
This is another term that I'm being sworn in for. I am just as excited as I was the first time that I was ever sworn into elective office. This is when we stand before the citizens of Atlanta and take our oaths, basically saying that we're going to keep the covenant that they have placed in us via their vote to govern the city to the best of our ability. We're very excited about the new members of the Atlanta City Council. We've got a couple of returning members also who have served previously. And of course, whatever advice and counsel that we can provide to the new members, if they so desire to need it and want it, we're more than happy to provide it and to bring them under our wing and to show them the ropes, back there on the hall down at the City Council. I'm very, very excited about this group of folks. Each brings their own unique impressions to the City Council and their legacy of service. So it's going to be great to be shoulder to shoulder with them, working on the issues and on behalf of our citizens.
The voters in District 10 have allowed me another term, and I am so excited. We will continue to work hard in the community. We will continue to work with Keep Atlanta Beautiful, Public Works, and all of the departments that help make Adamsville work.
Atlanta is sending to City Hall a younger, more progressive group of folks with a lot of energy and urgency. The city's facing some real challenges right now, and I am incredibly excited about the new folks that we're welcoming on council. I'm excited to be coming back with my colleagues from last term, and I'm pumped about the future. It feels like this council is going to continue moving in the direction of operating more and more as a team. And looking at the challenges that we face as a city as a collective of 15. And I'm excited about that. The issues we have to solve have to be done with that mindset in place. And so I'm pumped about people bringing their different perspectives from the districts they represent, but tackling challenges head on as a body. And I think we're going to make some really good progress over the next year.
Feels great to be returning for a second term, just to bring the needed change to Atlanta and across the city. Public safety is a concern, city services are a concern, and I'm looking forward to working with our new mayor, our new council president, and all of my returning and new colleagues to make Atlanta a better city for everyone.
everyone. This is Dustin Hillis, and I am the 2022 chair of the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee. I want to welcome everyone to the Monday, January 10th, 2022 meeting of this committee, and ask that Ms. Lindo please do a roll call.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Just unmuted. I apologize. We have, of course, Councilmember Dustin Hillis.
Present.
We have Councilmember Byron Amos. Councilmember Amos. We have Councilmember Andrea O'Boone. Present. Councilmember Mary Norwood. Present. Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet. Councilmember Keisha Sean Waits. Councilmember Waits. Councilmember Michael Julian Bond. Mr. Chair, we also have the Council President Shipman on the line with us. I understand those members are there. I have asked staff to make sure everyone is unmuted.
This is Council President Shipman. I'm here. Thank you for joining us, Council President Shipman. Yes, Ms. Lindo, I'm showing that Councilmember Waits and Councilmember Ramos are present on the system. We'll wait because I think we have a quorum at this time since they didn't answer the roll call, but if the staff could check in and assist in any technical difficulties they're having.
Mr. Chair, this is Councilmember Amos. If you can hear me, I am here and present.
Thank you, Councilmember Amos. Councilmember Bond, have you joined us? Councilmember Waits, have you joined us?
I have. I'm on the call. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With that, we do have a quorum, so we will advance. Ms. Lindo, if you will please read a remote meeting statement, please.
Yes, good afternoon. Today's Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee meeting is conducted remotely as advertised and in accordance with Georgia Code Section 50-14-1. The meeting will be conducted in conformance with Robert Rules of Order and the Rules of Council as authorized by the City Code. The public may access the meeting conference bridge toll-free by dialing 404-902-5066 and entering conference ID number 151945. This information was also provided on the Friday, January 7th, 2022 public meeting notice. The public may also view the meeting on Channel 26, the Council's homepage at citycouncil.atlanta.ga.gov, Facebook and Twitter pages at ATL Council, and the Council's YouTube channel. All presentations are available on the Atlanta City Council website and accessible via the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee presentations page. Today's meeting agenda was also published and made available on Friday, January 7th via the city's website at atlantacity.ga.iqm2.com. In addition, the public is able to submit comments via voicemail at 404-330-6022 yesterday between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. These comments will be played during the public comment portion of this meeting. All persons present on the remote council meeting conference bridge are requested to please mute your phones and speakers. Meeting participants wishing to speak must be acknowledged by the committee chair. All amendments, substitutes, presentations, and other informational documents have been distributed to committee members beforehand. Thank you all in advance for your cooperation.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. We'll move on to the adoption of the agenda. I don't believe there are any changes to the agenda. So with that being said, I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda. Is there a second?
Councilmember Amos, second.
Thank you, Councilmember Amos. Motion by Hillis, second by Amos. Ms. Lindo, we can just do this and the minutes by unanimous consent. Is that correct?
This matter, Mr. Chair, will have to be electronic vote.
Okay, if you go ahead and prepare the vote, please.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Ms. Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Boone, yes.
The vote is closed, Mr. Chair. That's 5 yeas, 0 nays. The meeting agenda has been adopted.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Is there a second?
Second, Boone.
Second by Councilmember Boone. Motion by Hillis. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair. The vote is closed. That's 5 yeas, 0 yeas. The meeting minutes have been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Linda. At this time, we're going to elect the 2022 Public Safety and Legal Administration Vice Chair, and I've been in conversation with Councilmember Amos, who is interested in serving that position. So if there are no other nominations or any discussions, I would like to nominate Councilmember Byron Amos to serve as our Vice Chair. Is there any discussion or objections?
Anything else for you?
All right. Then, by unanimous consent, by all members present, Mr. Amos, you are elected our Vice Chair.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, and thank you for being willing to serve in that role. Another issue we have to take up at the beginning of the year is our 2022 Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee goals and objectives. I prepared a draft of those. Ms. Linda will send those out to the committee members. We won't discuss those today, but if you can pour over those and any changes or questions or additions that you'd like to add to those, please send those to me and Ms. Lindo. We will go over those in detail at the last meeting in January, and we'll adopt those at that time. So please, if you haven't looked that over, please do so we can be prepared to amend as needed and adopt those at the next meeting. So at this time, Ms. Lindo, we'll move to public comment. I'll ask you to play our 4 public comments.
One moment, Mr. Chair.
My name is Henri Jordan, giving on to the Spirit of Christ. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. 1 Peter 5th chapter 8th verse. Resist the devil. Do not submit to fear or flee from Satan, but stand against him. They might come and fight, but in comes Jesus created in me, and Jesus did it for his glory. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Isaiah 10th chapter 1st verse. A prophetic woe is pronounced against those administrators who pervert justice. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. 1 Thessalonians 5th chapter 2nd verse. The day of the Lord is an all-encompassing term to describe the period that begins with the Great Tribulation and includes the second coming of Christ and the millennial kingdom. God says the Lord, for the 3 transgressions of the children of Ammon, and 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have ripped up the women with child of Gilead, that they might enlarge their border. Amos 1st chapter 13 verse. Rabbah, the great, was the capital city of Ammon. Amos prophesied that it will be utterly destroyed, and the king and his prince taken into captivity for its unspeakable atrocities against God's people. You can't bless yourself like Jesus can. You can't trust our flesh because it's destructive ways. Obey Jesus is the blessing that we need. Greetings, council members and staff, and special greetings to you citizens and voters of Atlanta, monitoring our government in action. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. Citizens of Southwest Atlanta, there is a new day at Neighborhood Planning Unit R. If you are of a mind to help Neighborhood Planning Unit R as it moves away from the era of the now defunct NPUR 9 into a brighter new future where the people are the priority, call the NPUR phone line and let us work together for a better quality of life for us all. The NPUR phone line is 402-979-6787. That's 402-979-6787. Thank you. Public Secretary, Committee, and members, I am Brother Anthony Muhammad, a soulful, spiritual being and a human experience. I am not a believer in the Roman Catholic Church religion, Christianity, in your scriptures from Genesis to Revelation. Not one person was born from a woman, literally. Therefore, I ask this Public Safety Committee, we need your support. Chief, we need your support in Atlanta. There is all kind of problems in Buckhead, one of the most economic empowered units of $14 billion. They have Miss Mary Norwood that came and asked that legislation allow public safety along with other public safety forces to collaborate for the benefit to stop the crime, stop the stealing and robbing. And that is necessary for the people to have the opportunity to be free in the environment from the wrong actions, from wrong doers. Yet, let's find a way to help empower these young men. We have men on the street selling water, and they think get ran over by cars. We have a new administration. Let's have the chief of the police to find ways to ask that we can use the resources in Atlanta to train and ask these technical jobs that is available in North Atlanta, hospitality, and so much could be done to aid in the transformation of the men from being in crime and stealing to find dollars for their family, dollars for themselves. So I ask you, of the safety committee, let's find ways to have a city among all the cities of America that can be a light as an example of what the public safety department, the city council, and mayor can do collaboration for the benefit of changing the district of the indigenous people of North Carolina. That's what this word, Carolina. My ancestors deserve more. The founding fathers gave us the Constitution, 13, 14, and 15 Amendment to help empower the dog people. Please, my Caucasian brothers, and watching.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Miss Marshall. Yes, I'm calling Shacey. Yes, everybody want to be safe. Every area want to be safe. Police is not the answer. What we have to do now, we got to give these children something to do. Don't put a band name, because you can have the police 200, 300. You got to stop. That's a band name. We need programs now. We need housing. $500 a month, not $1,500. We've been talking about this. Talk. Now action. Now we got some new members. Come, hey baby,
concludes the public comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. At this time, we do have one short presentation, and that's our Atlanta Police Department bi-weekly update. And I believe we have Deputy Chief Murphy here to present that. Chief Murphy, are you with us? Chief Murphy or someone from APD here to present the bi-weekly department week update? Ms. Lindo, can we check in and make sure
Hello.
someone
Can you hear me?
they're not on? Yes, is Deputy Chief Murphy?
Yes, you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll proceed with your update.
All right. Hello. I'm Deputy Chief Celeste Murphy with the Atlanta Police Support Services Division. And I'd like to say hello to the new council members and the returning council members and our citizens. This is our bi-weekly presentation. Ms. Lindo, if you can go to slide 2. All right. We're looking at a snapshot of our weekly crime report. And so this encompasses our crime for up until January 1st of 2022. We also look at a trend which spans a 28-day period, and we compare it to the 28-day period of last month. So if you see, we have broken down between crimes against persons and crimes against property. Right now, what we're seeing for the current 28-day, we went down in our homicides by 38%. Our rapes went up by 22%, and our aggravated assaults went up by 30%. And then when we look at the breakdown of our crimes against property, robberies are up for the 28-day by 3%. Our burglaries and breaking and enterings are down by 14%. Theft from motor vehicles are down by 7%. And shoplifting is down by 6%. And all of the larcenies outside of the car break-ins are down by 2%. And our actual auto thefts are down by 13%. So we're seeing slight increases in our rapes, aggravated assaults, and robberies. And we actually instituted some strategies that started mid of this year, around July. And one of the things of note, besides our centralization of each of our detective units for each of those categories, is our domestic violence unit. It gives the opportunity for those detectives to show a quicker response to those types of calls, and that's integral for prosecution, which gives a better impact on the safety of the victim from future incidents. And we work well together with the Victim Witness Advocacy Unit, and they provide that extra follow-up assistance to victims for resources and support during the court process. And another unit that we've seen that's been actually giving us some positive outcomes is our repeat offender unit, which also started about that same time, mid of last year. And that assists our detective units with data from previous incidents for those that need attention on the preparation of the prosecution. And we work closely with the DA's office in those efforts. So, Ms. Lindo, if you can go to slide 3. So on slide 3, what we have is the breakdown of our clearance rates, and that's basically what follows up with the investigations with our detectives. So for each of the major crimes, we compare what our completion of each crime leads to up until arrest. So when we look at our clear-up rates for homicide, right now we're at 72%. And if you look at the national average, it's reported as 61%. So we're above the national average for a homicide clear-up rate. And the number that coincides next to that where it says with warrants, that's meaning that we have actually a case against someone and we've developed enough probable cause to obtain a warrant on that person. And right now the fugitive unit is searching for that person. Once they're in custody, then our clearance rate for homicides actually goes up to 92% when all of those warrants, people for those warrants are in custody. Then next you see our clearance rate for our rapes.
Right now, it's 48%, and if we were to clear up our warrant rate, it would be 51.4%. In robberies, our clear-up rate is 25.9%, and with warrants, we would be up to 29.3%. In aggravated assault, our clearance rate is 28%, and with warrants, it would be 35%. And with our burglaries, it's 9.62%, and with warrants, it would be 9.89%. Our car break-ins, which is the larceny from autos, right now, our clear-up rate is 2.3%, and with warrants, it would be 2.6%. And with other larcenies, it's 9%, and with warrants, it would be 11%. And then with our car theft, our clear-up rate right now is 17.8%, and with warrants, it would be 18.6%. So, Lindo, if you can go to slide 4, please. All right, so here we are showing our enforcement activity for the week. And when we look at our traffic stops, compared to our traffic stops where citation was issued for the week, right now we're at 1,143 traffic stops and 542 citations. As well, we do track our 28-day for those numbers as well, and that's to make sure that we are in the areas where we're getting complaints for traffic and complaints from our citizens, and also making sure that we're visible in areas where we're getting complaints of high crime visibility. We go in those areas as well. If you notice, 67.8% of our traffic stops concluded without a citation issued, and the main reason why we like to track that number is because outside of us doing the traffic stops, we want to make sure that we're educating the public in the area about traffic safety, as well as making sure that we are in areas where the community wants to see us more visible. So oftentimes, most of our traffic stops end in warnings and education on traffic safety. And that concludes my presentation on our current updates with our crime and our enforcement. I'd just like to take this time to remind our citizens and our visitors if they can help us out by remembering to turn off your car, lock your car up, locking and securing your keys for your vehicles, and also if you can also make sure that you secure your weapons if they are left inside of your vehicle. We don't want guns from stolen cars ending up in the wrong hands. But also, I'd also like to also thank our officers who do actually work pretty hard, our professional staff, and the support of our city council for getting us these resources that we need to get the job done for our constituents. And I'd also like to let new members know as well, if you follow a lot of our social media platforms, you can follow a lot of our social media platforms and observe some of the highlights and hard work and accomplishments of our department as we protect the community. So at this time, it concludes my presentation, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Murphy. Before I move on to some comments, let's see if any others have comments. I want to let everyone know we have been joined by Councilmember Bond. Councilmember Bond, are you with us? Councilmember Bond, are you with us? Maybe he's having some difficulties. Councilmember Overstreet, have you joined us?
Yes, I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you for joining us, Councilmember Overstreet.
Thank you, Chair.
Deputy Chief Murphy, thank you for the presentation. Also, just wanted to highlight, we didn't go back and cover the end-of-year statistics from last year, but just wanted to acknowledge that it appears the city was flat as far as crime in 21. I know 2020 was sort of an anomaly, and we're up against some lower crime numbers because the city was basically shut down for quite a few weeks in 2020. But even given that fact, we saw a 6% decrease in crime crime in Zone 2. That was which is part of my council district. And then when you look at compare 2021 crimes 2 years ago, which is the last quote unquote normal year, if you can call it that, all of our zones were down. For example, Zone 2 was down double what they were this year, or 12%, and the other zone that I cover, Zone 1, was down 20% compared to 2019. So just want to give credit where credit's due, and thanks to our leadership and to all of our officers working out in the field and assisting our citizens and visitors and keeping our crime as low as we can. And we're going to try harder this year to do even better. So just wanted to say thank you to everyone in APD for that. And with that, if my colleagues have any questions or concerns or comments, please express those now.
Thank you, Councilmember Hillis. We appreciate that. They really did work hard in 2021, so I appreciate that comment.
I did have one more question, Deputy Chief Murphy. I received some information, I guess, perhaps this doesn't just affect APD, maybe other departments as well, but there is some issue with the city's contracting with the car wash service, and officers aren't able to go get their cars washed, and they're having to spend some of their own money to get those cars cleaned up. Can you give us some details on that and how we're working through that?
Yes, we actually are going to meet on that tomorrow to see if we can have an emergency procurement done so that we can relieve that situation. Right now, we're still looking to initiate a contract with services with a company. So actually meet on that tomorrow. Should have a resolution by the next time we speak.
And is that contract specific to APD, or is that a citywide contract?
Well, the procurement that we want to, I guess, address immediately right now would come out of our budget, would be for us, but the contract would be for the city and would involve all of the departments.
Okay. So maybe that's a question that can come up in FEC as regards what happened to the citywide contract and where they are with that. So I'll bring that up to Chairman Juan and those members to see if we can get some more details on that. So, members, any questions, concerns before we let Deputy Chief Murphy go?
Yes, this is Councilmember Boone.
I believe I heard Councilmember Bond first, and then we'll go with Councilmember Boone.
Well, ladies first. Ladies, Councilwoman Boone can go first.
All right, Councilmember Boone, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Deputy Chief Murphy, for that presentation. Just wanting to commend your staff on assisting with the homeless that are residing behind the yellow store on ML King, and just wanted to make sure that we continue to try to get those folks, it may be 6 or 7 folks left, the resources that they need. We are making progress with that, but we do need additional support right behind the yellow store at ML King and Lyndhurst. But again, thank you for sending your team over to meet with us at the end of December.
Yes, I definitely will be on top of that, and that was going to be my follow-up question because I transferred in the process, and you know I always love going to those community walkthroughs. So maybe we could follow up on that and see if that's still needed, or what else we could do to add a little bit more depth to that. But yes, we are committed to helping you out over there.
Thank you, and we are making progress, though. Thank you.
Good. I'm so glad to hear about that. Thanks for the follow-up.
Councilmember Bond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Deputy Chief, for your presentation. Before I ask my question, I just want to make sure that I think Councilwoman Overstreet is on hold, trying to get, I don't know if she's been let into the meeting or not, but she's on hold.
We got her in. She's been in camp before now.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Well, Deputy Chief, thank you for answering the question about the cleaning of the cars and the response that you guys are going to provide. Because it was a big concern now. COVID's always been a concern, but
now with this Omicron spreading like it is, it's just it's an urgent matter. But I appreciate your response. My first question is that prior in the fall, we passed legislation about making sure that we had police officers assigned to our parks. And it's an issue that some of us who were previously on the committee worked, in tandem with and worked deliberately with to make sure that our parks are, patrolled and make sure that we have, standing assigned officers there when the use is using the park the most. We were told that in January that this operation will be stood up, and that was about 4 months ago. Do you have any insight on what the situation on the ground is? Has the program began, et cetera?
Not yet, sir, but we are currently trying to work on staffing that and coming up with different ways that we can create employment opportunities to be able to make sure they're staffed appropriately. But we are in talks about that right now, so they stood up as soon as we get employees in line to be able to do it. But the talks on that have not stalled.
So it's not ready for people to have boots on the ground at this point.
We do have people, of course, that are working from the zones that will go through the area, but having someone standalone dedicated specifically to the parks, we have not stood up that unit yet.
Well, I know you're new to reporting to the committee, so I don't want you to feel like I'm bashing you. But that's a disappointment to hear because just for the record, there were a lot of incidences in our parks this past summer. Obviously, from a shooting, attack, and many other property crimes that took place down around, in particular, down the Cascade Nature Preserve. And before you're coming on, we were assured over and over that January would be the day. So I guess my next question is, what has happened in these 4 months that has prevented this from being done? Because what we were told 4 months ago is that it was simply a matter of money, and that the money would be in place and the folks would be there. Do you have any? Can you elaborate on why this still has not taken place? Because they would say that all they needed was deal with the camera issue, and now you're saying that if I'm, hearing you correctly, that they don't even have the people lined up at the time.
So we do have our normal patrols in the parks as stated, but what I can tell you is that we have to have someone to be able to do the job, and right now that's what we're trying to do, make sure that we have it staffed appropriately. Right now we don't have the staff to be able to dedicate it with on duty, so we're trying to make it where that it's going to be a part-time job, and we are ready to stand up the salary on that. It's a matter of being able to get the personnel to be able to put in for those jobs.
Okay, well, I don't want you to feel put upon because, this is your first report and, you're just getting here to the committee. But that is a huge disappointment because that is not what we were led to believe 4 months ago. And so, you know what I mean? So I need to be on the record about that. That is a huge disappointment because we've been waiting. Citizens have been waiting. Frankly, we thought that this could have been handled 4 months ago. But we were patient with the administration then, and apparently they've done absolutely nothing to this point. So that's really kind of a disappointment. Do you have any idea of how quickly or a projection of when we might be able to get this going?
Well, I don't recall, and I'm very well aware of the incidents that happened in the park, and I also have been in the conversations that were had about staffing those as an actual job that was paid. Again, like I said, we do have our mounted patrols. We do have our supportive units that do patrol in the parks right now, so they're not totally uncovered. But as far as a dedicated person being paid in those parks, I don't recall a promise that would be stood up in January, but I will follow up on it. And I understand, trust me, I definitely understand the concerns that have been surrounding the park since those incidents. So I will make sure that we have some follow-up on that. And I can't promise you the time frame because I'm not, actually in charge of that specific assignment, but I will get you the information that I have as best as I can at this time.
Well, I thank you for that. Again, I don't want you to feel put upon because this is your first appearance in the committee. But it was clear. The representative from APD came to committee. They said 4 months. That's a specific question. And they said in January they'd be stood up and ready to go. And we all understand that there are units affiliated with the zones that do kind of go through the parks. So this was a completely separate issue. That these would be people who they'd work their entire shift in the park. They wouldn't be on patrolling anywhere else. And they gave us assurances 4 months ago that January be that they'd be stood up in January, which we all thought at the time, was a stretch. So I'll wait for I want to welcome you to the committee. I don't want to be too harsh with you because I know you. I know that you are responsive, and I will get the information, but I have to go on the record with my first 4 months previous to you arriving here today. So, I guess my next question is, I just wanted to know, do you have, within APD, and I know this is kind of an issue in Atlanta Fire Rescue, the allocation of COVID testing kits, is there an adequate amount for the workforce within APD? You all aren't. Is there enough to be deployed throughout each staffing level, at each level from patrolmen to administrative staff? Do you have enough?
If I heard you correctly, sir, I think you said, do we have enough testing kits for COVID?
Right, for the employees, like the turnaround kits.
Right. So I know that we are discussing that with the fire department. I don't see that. I have not heard of any numbers as far as how many we have and how much it does cover. But what we do for the department is not only we have an agreement for our personnel to go to the fire stations. I know we're supposed to be procuring some to have for ourselves. I don't think that process is complete yet, but we also every day we research testing sites as well as the waiting lines, waiting times for those areas, as well as our own, reminding people of our own medical insurance where you can also get tested. We often, of course, I know you know that we do city events as well, citywide for the testing. So we give a lot of options for that. And we get pretty much, if not a daily basis, it's several times a week that we research locations that are currently giving those tests, and we give it out to the body.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure, Deputy, that, of course, our public police fire corrections are always exposed and always at risk. And I just want to make sure that they are getting the protection that they deserve to have and that they're required to have. And, of course, if there are ways that we can be supportive and assist, we're more than happy to do that and to be supportive. But thank you for your report, and it's good to have you here at the committee. I'm sorry I had to express some disappointment, but it wasn't at you. But I really appreciate the work that you do. I've seen you in the community, so I know you're full of dynamite. So welcome. Just want to welcome you here today.
Well, thank you so much. And to your point, we didn't report out that our numbers for our employees for COVID positive is going down, so I'm hoping that it stays that way. We are very, very diligent about making sure that our spaces are clean or they have access to supplies, and we just keep the information out about how to stay safe. So thank you so much for your positive comments, and I'm okay. When I've been knowing you for a minute, so I'm okay if you get mad at me sometimes. I'm all right with it.
Well, if that's you, it's the system. It's the system. That's you. All right. All right. I yield, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Vaughn. Colleagues, any other questions or comments before we let Deputy Chief Murphy go? All right. Thank you, Deputy Chief Murphy.
Thank you. Thank you all.
All right. At this time, we'll move on to our consent agenda, and we'll take up claims with favorable and unfavorable recommendations. I'll go ahead and make a motion to accept all favorable claims, 1 through 5. Is there a second?
Second, by Norwood.
Second by Councilmember Norwood. Motion by Hillis. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair. Will everyone please vote?
Overstreet is affirmative.
Bond is aye.
Waits is aye.
I believe that leaves Councilmember Boone. Councilmember Boone, how do you vote? Councilmember Boone. Please go ahead and close the vote.
The vote is closed. That's 6 yeas, 0 nays. Those items are favorable.
Thank you. And now moving on to claims with unfavorable recommendations. Want to make a motion to adverse unfavorable claims 6 through 23 with the exception of item number 8, which is 22R3014, and item number 10, 22R3016. We want to hold those at the request of Councilmember Norwood. So I'll make a motion to adverse all of those unfavorable claims with the exception of those 2 items. Is there a second?
Second, Boone.
Second by Councilmember Boone. Motion by Hillis. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair.
Overstreet affirmative.
All right. Councilmember Overstreet is affirmative. Councilmember Waits, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Waits, aye. Councilmember Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Bond, aye. Please close the vote.
The vote is closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. Those items have been adversed.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. We do have one ordinance for first read. If you'll sign that, Ms. Lindo.
Mr. Chair, we do have to hold the other 2 items.
Oh, yes. I apologize. We're going back to item number 8, which is 22R3014, and item number 10, 22R3016. I will make a motion to hold those 2 items. Is there a second?
Second, Boone.
Second by Councilmember Boone. Motion by Hillis. Please refer the vote to hold those 2 items.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Waits, how do you vote?
Aye, sir.
Waits, aye. Councilmember Overstreet, how do you vote?
Affirmative.
Overstreet, affirmative. Councilmember Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Bond, aye. Please close the vote.
The vote is closed. That's 7 nays, 0 nays. Those items will be held.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. Now moving on to our first read. Ms. Lindo.
This is Ordinance 22-1030. This is an ordinance by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta Police Department to enter into an industrial lease modification agreement with Sea Lake Enterprises, Inc. for approximately 6,850 gross rentable square feet of office space and warehouse space located at 194 14th Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318 for use as a Zone 5 precinct for a term of 5 years, commencing retroactively on February 1st, 2022, and ending on March 31st, 2027, at a base year rental rate of $19 per gross rental square feet, with a 3% annual escalation plus expenses, waiving Section 2-1546 of the Procurement Code of the City of Atlanta, and authorizing the expenditures to be charged to and paid from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lindo. That's our first read. Moving on to our regular agenda. Ordinances for second reading. It's on item number 2, Ms. Lindo.
Mr. Chair, that's ordinance 22-1002. This is an ordinance by Councilmember Michael Julian Bond to temporarily suspend the issuance of violations, citations, and or penalties as described in Section 10-109A and 10-109.1 of the Atlanta City Code of Ordinances for the failure to renew a license to sell alcoholic beverages by January 1st, 2022 for the 2022 license calendar year and for other purposes.
All right, Councilmember Bond, would you like to speak to your ordinance?
Yes, I'd like to move approval.
All right, there's a motion to approve by Councilmember Bond. There's a second by Councilmember Boone. Any discussion?
Yes, this is Mary Norwood. What would be the date when we will be getting these in? I saw that they didn't have to pay by January 1st, but what would we expect this year? And is there any differentiation with license holders that have been cited versus license holders that have not been cited?
Well, Mr. Chair, I'll respond if you allow. This is the gentleman. I believe they're having difficulty processing all of the applications. So this was put in, but if we wanted to put in a date, I'm not opposed to that. I believe from what I was told, is that they should be caught up in the month of February. So I would venture a date is maybe February 28th, if that's amenable.
That would be great. Then we would just have some indication as to when the city would be working toward this and the license holders would be working toward this. That would be great.
Well, if you make that amendment, I'll second it.
All right. Ms. Lindo, can we make that as an amendment to the legislation? And that would be I'm sorry, I'm not where I can do this very easily. Suspend the violations by January 1st, but not later than February 28th.
Second.
All right. There's a motion by Bond and a motion by Norwood and a second by Bond to amend it to instead read by January 1st, 2022, but no later than February 28th, 2022.
Yes.
Please prepare that vote.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair.
All right, Councilmember Waits, how do you vote?
Aye, sir.
Councilmember Waits, aye. Councilmember Overstreet?
Affirmative.
Councilmember Overstreet, affirmative. Councilmember Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Boone, yes. Please close the vote.
The vote is closed at 7 yeas, 0 nays. That item has been amended.
All right, now we're back. I did have one question. I don't know if you can answer this, Councilmember Rowland, or if we have staff on that can answer it. But what is the number of these that have not yet been renewed that should have been by the end of the year?
I don't have a specific number, but my understanding that it would be an overwhelming one.
Okay. I would like to get that number, so I'm going to, generally supportive of this, but would like to see a number and to see where the city is. So I'm going to abstain from this vote for that reason. But we do have a motion and a second, so please prepare the vote unless there are other comments.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair.
All right, Councilmember Waits, how do you vote?
Aye, sir.
Councilmember Waits, aye. Councilmember Overstreet, how do you vote?
Affirmative.
Councilmember Overstreet is affirmative.
The vote's closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. I'm sorry, that's 6 yeas, 1 abstention. This item is favorable as amended.
Thank you, Ms. Lindo. Item number 3. I understand we have an amendment to correct the caption and attach an Exhibit A, which is the legal property description. So I'll go ahead and make that motion to amend. Is there a second?
Norwood, second.
Second by Norwood. Motion by Hillis to amend item number 3. Please prepare that vote.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Waits, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Overstreet, how do you vote?
Affirmative.
Councilmember Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
All ayes.
The vote is closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended. This is Ordinance 2020-1018. This is an ordinance by Councilmember Marcia Collier Overstreet as amended by the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee to amend Chapter 10, Article 2, Section 10-92B of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances so as to provide an exemption from the distance requirements listed in Section 10-88.1 for the package stores licensed to sell malt beverages, wine, and/or distilled spirits for an establishment located at 4511 Campbellton Road, Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30331, and for other purposes.
Councilmember Overstreet, any comments, or would you like to make a motion?
Both. Thank you. The actual property owner has worked with MPUT to make this a possibility. So I move approval.
And I will second that. All right. Motion by Overstreet, second by Hillis. Please prepare the vote.
Vote is open, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Waits, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Waits, aye. Councilmember Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Boone, yes. Councilmember Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Bond, aye. Please close the vote.
The vote is closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable as amended.
All right, moving on to resolutions. We do have an amendment for item number 4, but I don't believe it changes the caption. So if you'll go ahead and read the caption first, Ms. Linda.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. This is this is Resolution 22R3001. This is a resolution by Councilmember Norwood establishing a Buckhead Public Safety Task Force to partner with Buckhead Business and Neighborhood Associations, law enforcement agencies, and appropriate government entities to develop and implement a comprehensive plan to deter crime and enhance public safety in Buckhead neighborhoods business districts, and commercial corridors, and for other purposes.
All right, thank you. And I believe, before we move on to comments, I believe we do have an amendment that will add 3 members to the task force.
Yes, Mr. Chair. The legislation is amended to add the following as members of the Buckhead Public Safety Task Force: the council member from the city council member from District 9 or designee, Georgia State Senate designee, and Georgia House of Representatives designee. The state and Senate have asked that they be included, and we wanted to include you, Mr. Chair, the Public Safety Committee, and representing neighborhoods in District 9.
All right, thank you, Ms. Norwood. Would you like to make a motion to approve that amendment?
Yes, I move approval of this amendment.
All right, and I will second that. Motion to amend by Norwood, second by Hillis. Please vote on the amendment.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair.
All right. Councilmember Waits, how do you vote? Councilmember Waits, how do you vote?
Mr. Chair, I need some more discussion.
Well, this is just the vote on the amendment.
I want to support the amendment.
Okay.
Aye.
So you're a yes on the amendment?
Correct.
Okay. Councilmember Overstreet, how do you vote?
Affirmative.
Councilmember Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
All right, please close the vote on the amendment.
The vote is closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended.
All right. Back to the original resolution now as amended. Councilmember Norwood, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to move approval as amended, please.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Before that motion is second, Madam Norwood, I'd like to ask that my name be added as a sponsor. I'm interested in supporting this.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Councilmember Bond, that would be great. We'd love to add you as a sponsor and a co-sponsor. Thank you.
Okay. We'll need to take an official vote on this. So, Councilmember Norwood, if you withdraw your motion, we'll go back.
I withdraw the motion to adopt in deference to adding a co-sponsor.
All right. Councilmember Vaughn, would you like to make that motion?
I'd like to add my name. So,
all right. Any others on the committee that would like to be added to their name to the legislation? Okay. Is there a second?
Second. Boom.
Councilmember Norwood to add Councilmember Michael Julian Bond's name as a co-sponsor. Please prepare that vote, Ms. Lindo.
One moment. Was that Bond and Boone? Or was that Norwood and Boone, Mr. Chair, as the motion and second?
The motion was made by Bond, seconded by Norwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Waits, how do you vote on amendment number 2?
Aye, sir.
Councilmember Overstreet.
Affirmative.
Councilmember Boone.
Yes.
All right, please close the vote.
The vote is closed. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended.
All right, now back to the original resolution with the 2 amendments. Councilmember Norwood.
And I make a motion to approve with the resolution as amended.
All right, is there a second? I will second it. Motion by Norwood, second by Hillis. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, this is Councilmember Waits.
Councilmember Waits.
Yes, so I just simply wanted to comment. As all of us are aware, we have significant issues impacting our city. Frankly, I have no opposition to this particular piece of legislation. However, I do want to express my intent to introduce companion legislation. It's my belief we need this exact same task force for our entire city, for districts 1 through 12. I would love to roll this in and make this one joint piece of legislation for the entire city. But again, as I've indicated, I have no opposition to this particular task force specific to the city of Buckhead. But I have received a number of emails and phone calls from business owners as well as constituents expressing concerns with this measure, as if somehow the remainder of the city has been forgotten. Also, recently in Grant Park, we have had an extensive wave of violent crime from young people. And so it's my belief that this is a measure that we actually should adopt for our entire city.
And Councilmember Waits, that is beautifully stated. I was asked in the past week why I did not enact something citywide, and I said, because I'm no longer a citywide council member. I was, as you know, for many years. But as a district council member, I felt that it would have been overstepping my bounds to enact a piece of legislation affecting other district council members across the city. I think the fact that you are a citywide council member makes all the sense in the world, and they can run in tandem or however you wish to see that happen. What we know is that I was involved as the head of the Buckhead Council of Neighborhoods with our council members from the district, with the Fulton County representatives, both the chair and the district representative at Fulton County, and the Police Foundation, and the police and Buckhead Business Associations. So that was a year and a half ago, and it produced the Buckhead Security Plan. This is an expansion of that, because that was designed for just a very small part of the area that I represent. That Buckhead CID area is in District 7. It's not in District 8. So my district, even though we introduced a security plan and that has been followed through, it did not affect particularly the commercial corridors in my part of the city. I am more than delighted to have other people involved and to have everything that we come up with, because we have now gotten more interest from the state, from the county, as well as from the city. And I would like to share all the things that come out of this with every one of my colleagues.
Mr. Chair, this is Councilmember Waits. Permission to speak?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, yeah, as I've indicated, I have no opposition to this measure whatsoever. I will fully support it. However, Mr. Chair, I would, at the appropriate time, I would like to speak to my intent to introduce companion legislation to mirror this, in fact, for the entire city of Atlanta, so that our residents and small business owners would at least feel, based on our posture, that they are also of concern to all of us, and that they are as well a priority.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Waits, and you can speak to that at the end of the meeting if you wish, and then of course you will have the opportunity to introduce any legislation after the full council meeting during the full council meeting on Tuesday, since we do not meet on Monday due to Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So with that, I believe we have the proper motion and a second. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Waits, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Waits, aye. Councilmember Overstreet, how do you vote?
Affirmative.
Overstreet, affirmative. Councilmember Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Boone, yes. Councilmember Bond, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bond, aye. Please close the vote.
The vote is closed. That's 7 yea. If there are nays, this item is favorable as amended.
Thank you. And I believe that brings us to resolutions that are settlements, items 5 through 11. And we can take those as a block if there's no opposition. If you could read those, Ms. Lindo.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Number 5 is Resolution 22R3030. That's a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendants in the case of Samuel Harris versus the City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed hearing, pending in the State Court of Fulton County in the amount of $32,500.00, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to pay the accounts listed from the accounts listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 6, 22R3031. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendants in the case of Trayson Lawson versus the City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the State Court of Fulton County in Georgia in the amount of $27,500, and authorizing the settlement amount to be paid from accounts listed herein, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 7 is 22R3032. It's a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendants in the case of Sylvia Williams versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the State Court of Fulton County of Georgia in the amount of $16,000, and authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 8, 22R3033. It's a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendants in the case of Devin Jackson versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the State Court of Fulton County in the amount of $28,000, authorizing the settlement amount to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Resolution item number 9 is 22R3034. It's a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against the City of Atlanta in the case of Kathleen Duffield versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein in the Fulton County Superior Court in the amount of $100,000, authorizing said amount to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the total settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 10 is 22R3035. It's a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defendants in the case of Darius Settle versus Vincent Butler et al. And the civil action file number listed herein in United States District Court, Northern District of Georgia, Atlanta Division in the amount of $50,000, and authorizing said amount to be paid from accounts listed herein, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the total settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 11 is 22R3036. The resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against the City of Atlanta in the case of Kelvin Lamar versus City of Atlanta, civil action file number listed herein, pending in the State Court of Fulton County in the amount of $325,000, and authorizing the accounts to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Lindo. I will make a motion to approve those items. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Bond. Motion by Hillis. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councilmember Waits, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Waits, aye. Councilmember Overshoot, how do you vote?
Affirmative.
Councilmember Overshoot, affirmative. Councilmember Boone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Boone, yes. Please close the vote.
The vote is closed, Mr. Chair. That's 7 yeas, 0 nays. Those items are favorable.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lindo. That concludes our legislative agenda. I did say to Councilmember Waits, if you wanted to divulge any more information about the citywide public safety task force, you can do so now under general comments. you have any more additional details or comments you'd like to share about that, Councilmember Waits?
Thank you so much. I will be working, I guess, with Ms. Lindo in terms of drafting this piece and getting that to the members, hopefully today, if that is a possibility. But in mirroring that other piece of legislation, I would love for the chairs of the Atlanta House delegation, as well as the chair of the Atlanta Senate delegation, in addition to the designee from the Fulton County Board of Commissioners. And my thoughts are a representative from the Atlanta Public School System, I think would be in order. So if you would give me the opportunity, Mr. Chair, to get back with you and work with Ms. Lindo in terms of putting that together.
All right, that sounds like a plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any other comments from my other colleagues?
If I could take just 1 minute. I received a letter from a gentleman who's been very concerned about our Atlanta Fire Rescue Department. And I don't know if other members of the committee received it as well, but I wanted to request, Mr. Chair, and I know you've been involved in this issue, which I'm so delighted, that we might be able to schedule a report that addresses some of these concerns so that we get a better sense of the validity and the urgency of any of this.
Yes, Councilmember Norwood, I have been working on those, and many of those concerns were on the radar last year and still need to be addressed, and I have added them, many of the issues that gentleman brings up, to our committee goals and objectives, and we'll be getting with the fire chief on one specifically he can address this committee in regards to those, so we can certainly talk about that later.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to putting those goals and objectives at the next meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Colleagues, any other general comments? All right. With that, we'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second. Good meeting.
Second. Boom. Great meeting, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You all. Thank you.
Great
Colleagues,
meeting, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Look forward to working with all of you all over the next year as we work on public safety in the city. Thank you so much. We are adjourned, and everyone take care.